Hey, what's up guys? Chad here with Greenlight Shooting and welcome to this new video. So today we're out here at Discount Guns and Ammo near Salt Lake City, Utah. Really good people. Make sure to show their website some love down in the description below. So today we're talking about a really controversial topic, a pretty loaded question. So before we dive in, I do also want to point out that I'm wearing that GLS hoodie. It's the Learn, Share, Evolve hoodie. Make sure to go grab yours at glsgear.com or click on that card right there and it'll take you over to the website so you can see all the official GLS merchandise. All right, so let's dive in. We're talking about the best overall handgun. Now, this is, like I said, a very kind of loaded question, but it's one I get like the most, man. Every day I get emails asking this question, so I wanted to address it head on. I have a lot of other videos talking about top 3 best first handguns, top 3 best concealed, whatever. They're in all these kind of segregated areas, but I don't have what is the best overall handgun. If I could only have one, what would I choose? So let's dive into it and find out what I chose and why. Drum roll, please. Here we go. That is my choice for the best overall handgun. It's the Glock 19. Now I know I'm gonna catch a lot of crap for this, but hear me out, okay? So the reason I chose the Glock 19 is the prompt says, what is the best overall handgun in my mind? Now, overall to me means it's got to be a gun that a new shooter can handle easily. It's got to be a gun that still holds up in veteran shooters' hands. It's got to be something that you can conceal carry if you wanted to, but is also still really comfortable to shoot at the range. It's got to work for self-defense. It's got to be an at-home defense gun. It can be in the car, whatever. And it's also got to last me a long time, because if this is going to be my only handgun, if I can only have one, it's got to last a long time, so the durability's got to be there. The other big thing with it is it's got to be something I'm proud of. If I'm a new shooter or something, I'm only going to buy one gun, and a friend asks me, well, what kind of gun did you get? I want to make sure that whatever I say, I feel confident in. Here we go. So for you guys who might not know what the Glock 19 is, Glock is a brand that manufactures a bunch of different guns. They all look pretty similar to this. They're all in different calibers, different sizes. Just so you know, the Glock 19 is their compact size 9mm. I have a bunch of videos on Glock breakdowns. You can go check those out. A couple more features about it. The magazines hold 15 rounds of 9mm, so that's one big thing for me. If I'm gonna talk about the best all-around handgun, I want to make sure there's a bunch of capacity. So it's 15 rounds in a magazine, and it's 9mm. 9mm means I can find it, pretty readily available, and it's relatively cheap as well, so I can practice with it a lot. Make sure I always have a bunch on hand. Size-wise, it's kind of that perfect mid-size, compact size. So it's small enough that I could still carry this relatively easy, concealed carry this relatively easy. But if I want to take this out to the range and shoot it, it's very comfortable to shoot. It's not like shooting one of those tiny, LCPs or anything like that. This thing feels great to shoot. And the 9mm round, with today's technology, you can get such great rounds out of the 9mm for self-defense, stuff like that. So you don't feel like you're giving up any real punch out of that 9mm. So it's a striker fired, it's a polymer frame, it's not steel, it's not like weighing down if you're trying to carry it all day. It's not weighing down on you. It's a very light, well-made gun, and it's very simple. So for those new shooters, a big concern is maintenance and upkeep. So one of the greatest things about the Glock is how simplistic it is. There aren't a bunch of different things hanging off of it. It's a very simple gun. You've got your magazine here. You take that out. If you want to take this down, you pull all this back. You have 2 notches, and that slide comes right apart. It's that easy. So you've got a spring in here. You've got a barrel in there, and that's really all you need to worry about. You wipe that down every once in a while, throw some oil on there. This thing is good to go. There's really very minimal maintenance required on these. Another big thing to keep in mind is, while this gun is great for those reasons for new shooters, it also holds up very well for the expert shooter. There's a reason that a lot of law enforcement and stuff like that carry Glocks. They're just so easy to use, they're so reliable, and another thing I love about them is how many accessories are available. It's such a well-known name that there are so many holsters out there, internal components you can switch out, trigger kits, everything for this gun. The Glock 19 is one of the more popular Glocks as well, so you just have a huge amount of kind of accessories and stuff if you want to trick this out to your liking. But straight out of the box, this is one of the best guns you're going to get for the price point. So with all that being said, is there anything I dislike about this gun? And there is. So there's one major thing that I really don't like about this gun, and it's the trigger. Now the trigger itself, I know isn't a big deal. Like I said, there's tons of accessories. I can, put in a new trigger kit and tune it perfectly to my taste. So I'm not necessarily talking about the pull on the trigger, although right now, if I was to say anything about the stock trigger, it's a little heavy. I think it's 5.5 to 6-ish pounds, but it doesn't have a distinct wall. You just pull it and eventually it fires. So I'd want more of a distinct wall. That being said, the thing that really bothers me about this trigger is it's got this little trigger safety coming out of the middle of the trigger, which is great because it makes sure there's a finger that's pulling that trigger. Something can't get in that trigger guard from the side and kind of pull it a little bit. It's got to come from a finger all the way from the front of the trigger. But what I don't like about it is that trigger safety tends to dig into my pointer finger. So as I shoot through like a box of rounds, my finger's already sore and I don't want to keep shooting. So that is my major downfall with the Glock, with any Glock really. I'm the only person I've ever heard say that. So I don't think that's a global thing. I think that's a very personal preference thing. It's just something that I don't like. Although, maybe I shoot a couple more times, I get a callus on my finger or something, and I'll figure it out. It's a personal thing, like I said. So that's my only real downfall of this gun. So I think a lot of the kind of concerns people are going to have and arguments people are going to have is, for new shooters, Glocks might not be the best because they don't have an external safety. Now, I'm going to argue with that because as a new shooter, that means that you can put good habits in their mind right away. So as a Glock, of course, there are internal safeties. There's a trigger safety, stuff like that. But the ultimate safety is the shooter, right? The user. So if it's a new shooter, I think a Glock is perfectly fine because it's going to really ingrain in them to not put that finger on the trigger, and that's the safety. So I think a Glock is just fine for a new shooter. Like I said, the recoil is very manageable in this 19, and it's just it's an overall good gun. It'll fit most hand sizes. It's got adjustable back straps. You can flip those on and off for different size hands. A couple more features about it. It's got the Glock U sights. People really dig those. It's got your rail under here if you do want to throw in accessories like a flashlight, like a laser, anything like that. It's all doable. Like I said, tons and tons of accessories and options for stuff like that. If I'm going to choose one gun out of any gun out there, any handgun out there, the Glock 19 is going to be my go-to, man. It's got a lot of capacity. It shoots a 9mm, which I know I can readily find and I can practice with a lot. It's very manageable. The weight of it is very manageable. It fits in my hand well. I know that I can count on it. Durability-wise, it's great if I want to teach someone, my cousin who's never shot a gun before, I can teach them on this gun and ingrain good habits in them. It's a gun I can feel proud of. And, Glock has earned its name over the years. So I think it's a very solid option. Price-wise, I think Discount Guns and Ammo has this guy listed for $539.99. So this is a Glock 19 Generation 4, so it is the newest generation. But generally, yeah, you're going to be kind of in that $550 area or so for Gen 4 guns. And I think that price point is right because it's kind of at the point where you're starting to pay enough to get a really good quality gun, but you're not paying so much that it's alienating a lot of people, that are budget conscious. Of course, you're going to be getting great quality stuff for $3,000 handmade guns, but at the end of the day, for the best overall gun, I think this is perfect. It's a gun, I can put it in my car, I can have it as a at-home gun, I can take it up into the woods on an outside the pant holster, and I know it's not going to get scratched up because of the great polymer frame. It's super durable. So there it is. That's my choice for the best all-around handgun. Man, I'm sure there are just a bunch of different opinions and options out there, obviously. Let me know yours down in the comments below. I'm excited to hear what you have to say. I like the Glock 19, man. It's an awesome gun. Let me know what you guys like. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and thanks so much for watching, man. We'll see you on this next video for Greenlight Shooting.